Hi, everyone. What if anyone in the world could become a filmmaker? This is the question that we asked ourselves 8 years ago when we started Runway. At the time, that question felt almost naive. Filmmaking was still something that required huge teams, huge budgets, and specialized skills. But it turns out that this might have been the most important and the most productive question we ever asked ourselves. Not because this led to the product that we created or the video models that we have shaped or the company that we founded, but this started something much bigger. A completely new way or new relationship between human imagination and what is possible to make. And while building Runway, we started noticing that there was this pattern. The biggest breakthroughs in history don't come from the technology or the tools itself. They come from someone asking a different question about the tool. Every category-defining moment in history follows this same structure. Same technology, same materials, but someone asking a different what-if question. And after that, suddenly the entire category changes. Georges Méliès looked at the same camera that the Lumiere brothers used. While the brothers were asking, can film record reality? Méliès was asking a very different question. He was asking, what if film could show what doesn't exist? And with this shift, he invented narrative cinema. He didn't create a new camera or a better camera. He had a different question. Andy Warhol looked at the industrial printing machine that most people saw as a mass production tool, and he asked, what if repetition is the art itself? Suddenly, something designed for industry became a tool that helped redefine modern art. And Alexander Fleming looked at contaminated Petri dishes, something that every scientist had seen before, that had access before. Most of them threw it away, but he stopped and asked, what if this mold that is in this dish is the discovery? We know now that that question led to the invention of penicillin and eventually saved over 200 million lives. Same tools, different question, and entirely new outcomes every single time. So creativity was never about the tool. It was always about the question that revealed what the tool was actually for. And today there is something fundamentally that has changed. Anyone can build anything. AI makes it possible for all of us to generate images, to generate video, software, and ideas faster than at any time in history, any point in history. Which means that we are not just in this technological transition, but we're also in this key moment of interrogation. And I believe that the teams and the individuals that will win in the future won't be the ones with access to the best tools, the best AI, or access first to the best AI. It will be by those who will be asking the questions that no one else has asked yet. So for us, this question was simple. What if anyone could become a filmmaker? That was easy. We wanted to be filmmakers. But 8 years ago, that sounded very unrealistic. Filmmaking was supposed to belong to the studios. It was done by creative professionals. It was done with expensive equipment. And on the other side, the AI research was very early. We were asking this question when we were seeing 200 by 200 very pixelated images. But today, something incredible is happening, and I see it every single day. People inside of the creative industry and outside of it, scientists, teachers, designers, students, people who had always had stories in their heads, but never had the access, the tool, the budgets to tell them, they have access now, and they can tell them. So answer that first question, follow it to the next one that we had. What if anyone could become a great filmmaker? Not just someone who can generate a single clip or someone who can create a beautiful image, but someone who can tell a compelling story. Stories with emotion, stories with structure, stories with meaning. The kind of stories that stay with you, the kind of stories that you want to watch. And we have been working on that question for the past few years, but that opened the next question that we're pursuing. And it's not just how do we make filmmaking easier, but something much bigger. What if there is an entirely new way to tell stories? Not something that is just faster or cheaper, but new narrative forms that didn't exist before. A completely new way of telling stories. So until now, most generative systems create isolated moments. It generates a clip, an image, a scene, but we know that storytelling isn't about just single moments. It's about constructing worlds. Worlds with characters, worlds with environments, worlds with rules and continuity, worlds that you can explore. What you see here on the screen is our latest research on world models, which we believe will get us closer to this idea. Instead of generating disconnected pieces, world models begin to understand the structure of the world itself. You can imagine relationship between characters, understanding the physics of an environment, understanding the continuity in a narrative space. And when this happens, we can start thinking that storytelling will change again. You'll start thinking in formats that you are only starting to imagine now because this exists. And I'm sharing this with you because here's the trap that I see many teams fall into. They're taking the most powerful creative technology that we have created in history, and they're using it to make the same things they were already making. They're making it faster, they're making it cheaper, they're making it at scale. But fundamentally making the same. Productivity without a direction, without a creative direction, doesn't multiply. It just amplifies whatever idea you have. And today, AI is making us faster creators. We can select, we can refine, we can remix, we can iterate. But asking what if is the move that is different. It's what I call the artist move. It's a move that doesn't start with something that already exists, but it starts with something that hasn't been created yet, that doesn't exist at all. And at Runway, we have made this choice very early to build for the artists, not just for the curators. Because in this era, we believe that curators are going to get faster, but artists, the ones adopting the artist mentality, are going to get bigger. And when we have the same tools, when we have the same capabilities, aiming for bigger is the only direction that I think matters. Asking a great what-if question, that's something really powerful. It aligns your entire organization. It tells your engineers what they're building towards. It tells your researchers what problems matters. It tells the designers what kind of experiences they're shaping. And it tells creators why the work exists. Without this question, I see teams optimizing endlessly in every single possible direction. With the right question, everyone moves towards the same goal. So I want to return to the question that started everything for us. What if anyone in the world could become a filmmaker? This wasn't a product question. We didn't ask this ourselves to define how do we want the product to look, what do we need to add to the product. This wasn't a technology question. We didn't start by thinking we're going to use this model or this other model, or we're going to create this model. It was a creativity question, a single what-if question that challenged hundreds of years of assumptions about who storytelling belongs to. And today, AI is doing something really extraordinary, that is expanding who gets to participate on every single domain, at every single industry, not just film. And as I said, history has taught us, if history has taught us anything, is that the biggest breakthroughs won't come from the tools itself. It will come from those who will be asking the next great questions. So I want to wrap up this, inviting you to think about, when you're thinking about how to apply AI in your project or within your organization, to stop and ask yourself, what will be your next what-if question? Thank you.